Today you see two pairs of knit pants that are super easy to fit and easy to sew. They can be used for working out and other things. You can make them in different lengths, different pockets. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and today I have some pants for you. I really enjoy sewing pants. Long gone are the days where they would give me a bit of anxiety, nothing like that anymore. I just tackle each one in the exact same way. I've got a process in my head that's got an order that I always follow, and the results are always amazing. So it's a little bit different when the pants are knit though. I'll talk about that a little bit in the fitting section. And what I'm talking about today are the Foxy legs. What a cool name. This is from pattern Emporium. It's a pattern that's been around for quite a while. It's a super nice knit pant. Could be jogger style. You can make them several lengths. Half length is below the knee, 3/4 length is sort of mid shin, and then full length, a cuff on the bottom. Of course, these are pull up. For the waistband, there's a lot of ways that you can sew the waistband. You have two options that have an elastic in there. So if you want a firmer fit, more closer to the body, go with that option. You can make it covered, you can top stitch it and create a casing to put a drawstring through if you want to. My favorite one though is the knit waistband. It's like a yoga waistband. This is an option in the pattern, so I always go for that, especially when I know that the goal of these garments are not for running. I want them for lifting weights or for walking. That yoga waistband holds up beautifully. Now, if I wanted it for running, I would want the elastic probably just to give a little bit more firmness and support. So it just depends on what you want to do with them. I find the yoga waistband much more comfortable. So I'm really happy that all the options are there. You have pockets. These pockets are super easy to sew. They're the ones that have a little cutout on the side. It could be a slanted opening or a round opening that you finish with binding or a band. And then you just have one pocket bag sewn onto the actual pant leg on the back. Very easy to sew. They're the easiest types of knit pockets you can do. And I don't think they're the firmest. I wouldn't put something super heavy in there, but at least you can put your hands in there and put small items. The fit of these are slim style. So they're looser than leggings, but a little slimmer fitting than say a pair of sweatpants. I think the amount of ease in these are just perfect. And you know, there's lots of options here, and over the years, I know what suits me best. And not only that, it's about a comfort level. Because I want these for working out, the 3/4 length is the best for me because I get some cooling at my ankles. I really overheat if I work out in full length. And the half length is sort of more difficult to wear. I think a lot of people have a harder time pulling that off. So my sweet spot there is the 3/4 length, love that. The Foxy leg is the pattern that's 50% off on Friday. Pattern Emporium is running a sale every Friday from 6 a.m. to Saturday midday, but in Australian timing, Australian Eastern Standard Time. The sale starts on this part of the world around Thursday afternoon. Easy for you to see on the website. There's a countdown, so it's easy for you to know how much time you have for the sale. 50% off, an amazing deal. My affiliate link is always at the top of the comment section, so it's easy for you to find. It's always in the description box of the video as well. That's harder for you to find. So if you do click on there, it takes you to the site. You end up purchasing. I receive a small commission back, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. It just means that you're supporting my work that way. So if you use it, I'm always super grateful. You're awesome. The Foxy legs are meant for knit fabrics, so don't try to make these in a woven. They're just not going to fit. And of course, the knit has to stretch 50 to 100% horizontally. Vertically, you also need at least 25% stretch so you have a comfortable fit. I know you find some knits out there that only stretch horizontally, like from selvage to selvage, but no stretch vertically. Try to avoid those fabrics because you're not going to get the correct fit. I think the top tier fabrics here are athletic knits, performance fabrics, and then you have other options. Just depends on what you want for them. Cotton lycra is a nice fabric. I would want to have at least 10% spandex in there though for the stretch and recovery. I personally would not use those to work out. You know, cotton holds onto sweat, and sweat on your pants is just not a great look. But if you want them for lounging or something like that, something that you're not going to be sweating in, I think cotton lycra is fine. Then there's lighter fabrics like rayon spandex, modal spandex, that type of fabric. I personally would not use that type of fabric unless I wanted to sew pajama pants. So if I wanted actual 100% loungewear pajama pants that I know are not going to last, the fabric's not going to look that nice long term, I'd probably use that fabric. But it would be on the bottom tier of my choices at least. Then there's others like stretch velvet, but you have to be careful because some stretch velvet doesn't have vertical stretch. I know I've bought 2 types, and the ones that do have vertical stretch are really precious to me. What other fabrics? If you had a rayon French terry, that would be really nice for lounging as well. For sleeping in, that would be awesome. As well, you know, this is just personal preference. I wouldn't want to work out in that type of fabric. Ponte Roma is also controversial because a lot of Ponte Roma doesn't have vertical stretch and seems to be really stiff and not that comfortable to wear. But if you were able to find one with a lot of rayon in there and spandex and that they would stretch vertically, then it could be a choice. But it wouldn't be my first choice, at least. For the waistband, if you're doing the knit waistband, yoga waistband, that doesn't have an elastic, make sure your fabric has at least 10% spandex for the stretch and recovery. So if you were making your pants with rayon spandex, for example, that only has 5% spandex, I would not make the waistband, if it was a yoga waistband in that fabric, I would use the elastic versions instead, because then the elastic inside the waistband is going to give you that firmness. Wow, that was a lot of talk about fabric. I've been accused of just talking too much, you know, I get that comment every now and then. I agree. Sometimes I do talk a lot, but I think it's important, especially if you're starting to sew and fabric choice is your real big roadblock that really gets you confused and makes you have a lot of doubt and insecurity. That's why I do talk a lot about it and my thoughts on it and why I choose this or why I choose that, because I think it could help you down the line, maybe not make some mistakes that could frustrate you. I know that a lot of us learn from making mistakes, and believe me, I've made a lot of mistakes in the past where I chose the wrong type of fabric. It's been a long time. I probably wasn't on YouTube yet when I was making those mistakes. So I just try to pass on my experience, that's all. The sizing, because this is an older pattern, it comes from 6 to 22 Australian. So it doesn't have the full size range that's available in the newer patterns that go from 4 to 30 Australian. So the largest hip circumference here for the largest size is 50.5 inches. You need to choose the size based on your full hip because it's a pull-on style. So you can regulate the fit of the waist with your elastic or your yoga waistband. But it does have to go over the hips nicely, so that would be your base size. If you're making full length, the inseam is about 28 inches. So if I wanted to make full length, I'd probably have to add 3 inches to the length of the legs. If I wanted to add 3 inches, I'd probably split it and add it in 2 sections. One around the thigh, one sort of below the knee to not distort the shape of the pants. But I'm not making full length, I'm making 3/4 length, and the inseam there is just perfect. Almost 23 inches, perfect for an inseam, for a 3/4 length. And then the half one goes below the knee, that's about 16 inches. So I think if I wanted to make that one, I would have to lengthen it as well, so it goes below my knee. So fitting lengthwise, pretty easy. I chose the option that I don't need to make any adjustments to. Now, these are meant to be low rise or mid rise. There's 2 lengths there on the pattern pieces. I can't really rock a mid or low rise just because hourglass or pear shape, the smallest part of the waistband is always going to ride up looking for that smaller section of your body, and then you end up with wedgies and all sorts. If you're more rectangular, apple shape, or just really athletic rectangular, you can get away with using lower rises because, you know, the pants are going to stay where you want them to stay as long as they're fitted. It's not a personal preference such, it's just that my body shape sort of wants pants to be at my smallest at my waist. So I measured my pattern, all of that, and I wouldn't do the exact same adjustment I would do with a woven. For a woven, I would have added more length to the front and the back rise. Empirically, for the front, I added a 5/8 of an inch all along the front. For the back, I added 1.5 inches to the center back, and then tapering to 5/8 on the side seam. So it's like a little wedge so that the side seams are going to end up the same length, and it was perfection. I made my first pair as a wearable test, knowing that it was going to fit, having 99% sort of certainty that it was going to be okay. Usually when I make 2 pairs and I'm sure of the fit, I cut them out at the same time. In this case, no, I cut out my navy pair first just to make sure that my adjustments were correct. And then confirming that, then I went ahead and cut the other one, because if there was something I needed to change, I would have done it, you know. Now, what was my rationale here? Thinking maybe if I didn't add enough rise to these pants, I can always cut a different yoga waistband and just make it a little taller to compensate if I felt that I was lacking in the front or the back rise. So that was my rationale. Because these are knit pants, you can get away with doing things like that. but I didn't need to do that, so that's all good. So that was my change to the rise that I knew was going to happen, because I just have to have it at my natural waist. It's not that it's not high rise, it's just at my natural waist. I'm also taller, so changes that were expected, but very simple. I'm making a straight size 16 here from the pattern. I didn't need to blend the waist sizes, nothing like that. For sewing, I'm going to show you the basic construction. This is so easy to sew. The pockets are easy. You'll be able to whip these up in not a long time, so it's not something you'll spend your whole day on, and then you can go ahead and enjoy. These are the pattern pieces for the Foxy legs. This is the front. There's a curved pocket opening here. It can also be slanted. And this is the binding that's going to finish that edge. You can also do a band. That is the back leg over there. This is the yoga waistband folded. I love that. This is the pocket that's going to go behind this pocket opening. It's just one layer, the pocket bag. And this rectangle here is going to be the cuff. To sew these, I'm going to be using a jersey needle number 90. My fabric is medium weight, so I wouldn't want to use a smaller one than that. To sew the binding on the pocket opening, I'm going to use a shallow zigzag, so it looks almost like a straight stitch, but it'll be a little bit wavy to have stretch. That is my stitch length. Okay, here are the curved pocket openings. I suppose the slant pocket opening is easier just because it's just straight. This one has a slight curve, but it's the same thing. You just put your binding piece right sides together. I prefer to do the binding than the band. Just personal preference, you can do both. And to cut the size of the binding piece, you'll find that in the instructions. You won't find it on an actual pattern piece, but it's very easy, and it's going to end up a little longer so that you trim off at the ends. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew these with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You could do this on the serger if you wanted, but I prefer doing it on the sewing machine. I think it turns out less bulky because you don't have all that thread that you would with the serger. Okay, there's the binding sewn, right sides together, and now we're just going to fold the binding right over that seam allowance like that. At the back, it's going to finish like this. Look, I would normally serge that, but because this is always going to be hidden and it's not an exposed area and it doesn't fray because it's a knit, I'm not going to serge it, but you can do that if you want to. If this was a seam that would be on the inside, that would have friction and movement, then I would serge it. And now we're going to top stitch. Now my favorite method is to stitch in the ditch because I find it looks super clean. So I'm going to be stitching right in there. But first, I'm going to hand baste this. Okay, here I've got the front leg, wrong sides up. You can see the edge of the binding right there, all done. And now this is my pocket bag. It's a single layer. One is straighter, that's going to go along the hip, and then we have a curve. So around that curve is where I have already serged. And now we're just going to place this on top. Both of these are wrong sides up, wrong sides up, wrong sides up right there. So that when you look at it from this side, you have right sides up, right sides up. Hard to see with my fabric, but I'm mentioning it. And we're just going to align it along the curve here. So it's going to match around the hip area and along the waist area. Find the position that both are going to match. And now it's so easy. I'm going to hand baste all around this pocket. And then just along this curve, we're going to top stitch. When I'm going to hand baste right along the edge of that serged area. And that's going to be my guide to see from the other side. Because from the right side, once everything's hand basted, I'm going to be top stitching with a twin needle. The thread is actually my basting, but also my guide. So it's really good. And that's how I'm going to get a really neat finish. I'm also going to baste around the waist area and the hip area so that this acts as like one piece. The leg is just a leg. You can forget the pocket is there afterwards. After doing the pockets and having all that finished, that we can forget about them. And now I've aligned a back leg and a front leg right sides together. So on the table I have the back leg. On top of that I have the front leg, both right sides together. And I've pinned the inseams. That's what we're going to sew first and press it so it's really, really neat. And then we're going to extend it and then we're going to sew the crotch. This seam is going to be done on the serger. I'm really trying hard not to trim anything away because the seam allowance is 1/4 inch in this pattern. I've been to the iron, tidied up all of this because it was quite crumpled. I pressed my pockets, I pressed this inseam,
And now that that's ready, I have one of these on top of the table, right sides up, and now I'm going to take the second leg and put them together, right sides together, and I'm going to match up the crotch here. This is a really nice way to get the crotch sewn in one go. Now I'm just going to pin these together and get the crotch sewn. I'm trying to keep the blade away from the edge so I don't trim anything away, maybe a little bit here and there. I'm really trying to honor that 1/4 inch seam allowance here. After sewing the crotch, we're just going to open this up on the table, and now we can align and sew the side seams. Super easy, just go all the way down. I'm going to do that off camera because that's just pretty much almost a straight seam. What I have here is the yoga waistband and the 2 cuffs, and I'm just going to get these steps out of the way, get them done at the same time. All you need to do are these little seams. I'm also going to do them at the sewing machine with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, the same narrow zigzag I was using it before. I prefer to press these seams open. I feel that they're less bulky than doing it on the serger, but if you like doing it on the serger, you can do it on the serger as well. And then once that's done, the pant section is done, and then we can sew the cuffs on the bottom. The cuffs are a little bit smaller than the circumference. Okay, there is the yoga waistband. I have marked the 1/4 points here. I got my waistline of the pants and I checked if the side seams were actually 1/4 points, and they are. So it's super easy references, just the centers of these pieces plus the side seams. You can start anywhere you want. I'm going to start on one of the side seams and sew all the way around, and I'll be stretching the waistband to match the waistline underneath, always keeping the 3 raw edges together.
These are my navy pair of Foxy legs. They're so nice. I really love this style of pant for working out. You know, it's not fitted like leggings and it's not loose either. So it's just the right amount of ease. I'm very happy. And I have so many tops with navy and nothing to wear on the bottom. There is my yoga waistband. You can see it looks gathered there. It's just because the waistband is smaller than the waist area of the pants. So you're stretching each 1/4 point to match up. So that's why when it's on the hanger, it looks sort of gathered, but then when it's on the body, it doesn't look like that. It looks absolutely fine. This is a really good athletic knit with a lot of spandex, so it's all good, it holds up. And that is my center back seam. These are the easy to sew pockets, slanted pocket opening. Now, this is a leather look jersey on the inside. It's shiny. I use that side of the fabric to do the binding here for the pocket opening. I think it looks really nice. And then the pocket bag is sewn on the back, top stitched with a twin needle right there. Really hard to see, but it's all very nice and very safe. And then we just have legs and the cuffs at the bottom. The cuffs are really not tight at my calf, so that is really good. I'm happy they're not tight there. And everything was perfect for me. The rise adjustments I made, I'm very comfortable. And I've already worn these to work out. I'll show you a small clip of myself at the gym at the end of the lookbook. So you can see, so you can see them in my sweaty self. Let's see this styled quite a few ways.
These are my first pair of Foxy leg pants from Emporium. They're made out of knit fabric. It's an athletic knit, a little lighter than the second pair you're going to see. I prefer the 3/4 length. As you can see, my ankles are free for ventilation. I really enjoy this length. You can make them a little shorter and also full length. This is the Bound to Be tee from Emporium. It's really lovely and it pairs beautifully with my Foxy legs pants. Because these pants are not super fitted, I can wear a top that's a little shorter and semi-fitted like this one. And I can also wear looser things, so these type of pants and the fit is really versatile for me. Up closer you can see I've chosen the yoga waistband. There's also other waistband options where you can put an elastic inside. I do have the easy to sew pockets on there. I've got the slant pocket opening and I've done a contrast little binding right there, matched with a simple grey cami because grey matches every single color. And I can't be happier. I have already worn these out to work out and the functionality was amazing. I did make small adjustments to the rise. I added 5/8 of an inch to the front rise, 1.5 inches to the back rise, keeping the side seams the same at 5/8. And that's just because I want mine to be at my natural waist and I'm just taller. I usually do need rise adjustments. Mine are a straight 16 Australian sizing, and here I've got it paired with another top, this time in blue. I really needed a pair of navy joggers like this because I have quite a few blue things to wear and nothing to pair them with. So this was something that I really needed, and I love the comfort of a type of pant like this for working out because it's not as fitted as leggings, but it's also not too loose like sweatpants. If I really want to feel comfortable, I'll wear something oversized like the Carefree tee. This is from Emporium in a navy athletic knit. It's an amazing print. It's so amazing to work out in. It's a longer top, covers my bottom, and it goes perfectly over these brand new Foxy legs. Loving them so much. Now I can actually wear these blue tops with something that matches. Here you can see a quick clip of me wearing these to the gym. I made them just recently and I had the chance of actually wearing them and working out in them and sweating in them, and they worked really well for me. So comfortable, I could barely feel that I had anything on because of that yoga waistband. So I just love that yoga waistband so much. If it's an option in a pattern, I'll probably choose that one, especially for lifting weights and something that's not too strenuous. If I was planning to run in these, I'd probably want the waistband with the elastic so it gives more support. But there you go, I've worn them, I've tested them.
These are my second pair of Foxy legs. It's a dark red, an athletic knit. It's got a bit of an animal print going on there while still keeping it a solid. There you can see the animal print better. It's very discreet. This one has the rounded pocket opening with the pocket, super easy. You saw how to sew that. My yoga waistband, it's all the same. It's the same length, the same cuff. I know that this is the style that I'm going to wear the most, the ones that I actually enjoy. Whenever I sew and there's a pattern with options, I always try to pick the one that's going to suit my lifestyle better, because in the end, I am custom sewing for myself and I want to make the options that are the ones I'm going to use the most. So 3/4 length, that is the one for me. It keeps me cool. I just love the style. I've been wearing this length for decades and decades, and whenever I've tried to work out in something full length, I just overheat. I just cannot do it. But you know, the options are there and you can make it full length or even shorter if you want to. I really love this one.
Here is my second pair of Foxy leg pants from Emporium. This is also a size 16. This time they feel a little more fitted than the other one, and it's just because the fabric is heavier. There is my yoga waistband. This time I have the curved pocket opening with binding, as you can see. Super nice. These pockets are so easy to sew. This cute tank is the Yours Truly tank, also from Emporium. It's a shorter length, and again, I'm happy to wear something shorter because these types of bottoms are not super fitted like leggings. So the leggings, I would not wear a shorter top like this, but I think the proportions here are really good. I have this hoodie that's super colorful. It's an explosion of color and it does have this dark red in the print, so I think this goes together beautifully. Remember, I live in a country where dressing up in all these colors is pretty normal. I would not stand out. And plus I love it. So there you go, a nice colorful outfit for when I need to put something that's a little warmer. Even if it's colder, I do like having my ankles on show when I'm working out because it does help me cool down when I'm working out. I tend to get really overheated and sweat a lot. Here's another top I have that's super cool. It's also made in an athletic knit, and the print in there has a tone that matches the dark red. I love having these pants because even though I thought I didn't have many styling options, I ended up finding quite a bunch, and I think I could find quite a lot more. So just more options. I'm so happy I have cute workout clothes. I just love going to work out in my own me-mades. It just feels amazing. Here's a same color look. This is a super oversized tank. This is ready to wear, very basic tank from Amazon. The only reason I buy these tanks is because fabric is really lightweight and I have a hard time finding athletic knits in a lightweight. I tend to find them more in medium weights. So yeah, this is nice. It matches. Really comfortable, nice and oversized for being super loose and fresh when I'm sweating at the gym. If you're ever in a pickle with what to pair with something colorful, just grab something gray because gray goes with every single color you can ever think of. So why not get this gray tank? Also ready to wear, the same as the one you saw before. And this one doesn't fit oversized. It's because I got my actual size. For the other one, I did choose a size extra just because I wanted it oversized. I love making these joggers. They fit so well and they're so easy to sew. I couldn't justify buying this type of garment when I can make them myself. myself with the best fabric, with the colors I really want. It's just so enjoyable. If you haven't made items like this, you're missing out. It's just so great, so satisfying.
I know some people like these styles that have cuffs on the hem and they wear heels and whatnot. That is just not my style. I would not feel comfortable trying to do that. So I'm always going to keep it casual. It's always going to be a workout pant. And I'm very happy with that. I made something that I actually needed a lot. I know I'm gonna wear at least once a week. I'm super happy with my I'm super happy with my 2 pairs of Foxy legs. Blue, dark red, they're gonna go a long way. I was really lacking in this type of garment. I just had 1 pair that I was using a lot. This black pair is getting really old. And so I'm happy to have these. I'm going to the gym from Monday through Friday. I go there really early. It takes a lot of my time and energy, but I enjoy it so much. I really missed all of that during the pandemic. And I really enjoy going there with my knee mates. It's amazing. So I'm happy these patterns are around that we can enjoy. Don't forget to check out the Foxy legs, on sale for a short little period of time, 50% off. It's amazing. I don't actually know when I'll see you again, maybe soon, maybe in a little bit. You know, the Olympics are starting and I'm gonna be glued to the screen because I am obsessed with the Olympics. I have a countdown. I've been just busting to see the Olympics because I enjoy that so much. So yeah, I'll try to sew while I watch the Olympics. Let's see how that works out. Bye.